Welcome to the Mojo for Musicians podcast from Manny Cabo Media, where we dig deep into today's top strategies to help you take your music career to the next level, along with real, raw, and uplifting conversations with industry professionals that are making moves, making a difference, and making the best versions of themselves to inspire you to do the same. And for all of our Mojo Maniacs out there, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you like what you hear, please be sure to give us a positive review on your favorite listening platform. Support for the Mojo for Musicians podcast comes from Stedman, tools for the studio and beyond, because your voice deserves to be heard. Sennheiser, inspired by music. And Cranium, scientifically designed products for bald, shaved, and buzzed heads. So get your head in the game and own your dome. And now, here's your host, Manny Cabo. All right, Mojo Maniacs, welcome back to episode 58. And as always, it's going to be another epic one. And of course, I can't proceed without throwing some flowers at my incredible audience and loyal listeners out there, keeping this podcast in the top 1% best music podcasts in the world, along with my awesome sponsors for supporting my message of inspiration and empowerment and educating my family of artists globally. So now, this is the best part. Now let me tell you about today's guest. And I mean, simply put, I don't know, she's just a badass. Okay, who started her career as an award-winning journalist and an anchor. Then she went on to have an internationally syndicated talk show that afforded her an ACE Award. And I've had the honor, of course, having her as my personal mentor in another field which she's dominated, which is what we call the VO world or voiceover world. So let's bring her on, the incredibly talented and versatile voice of Rolonda Watts. Hey, Ro, welcome to Mojo for Musicians. There she is.
Hey, Manny, how are you?
I'm great. How about, man, I tell you, I'm so excited. And, quite honestly, you wear so many damn hats. Like, you're the CEO, the president of your own company. You teach master classes, which, again, as I alluded to, I've had the luxury of taking. And you're a stand-up comedian now, not too long ago. I mean, actor, shit. I'm just grateful to get 5 minutes of your time, let alone a whole 35 minutes. So needless to say, I'm very grateful and privileged right now for you to graciously share your time with me and my listeners.
Oh, listen, I would not have missed it, Manny. You know how much fun I have with you. And we love to inspire people. So
yes, we do.
Here we are. But, all those things I do, I never feel like I'm working because I love everything I do. It's like having all my little babies, my little content creating here and my teaching here. And it just satisfies different aspects of who I am, I think, and just helps me stay creative and in the service of helping people too. Right. I think that's important.
I think that's a great point because it's true, coming from a place of service, especially engaging in the activities. And I learned this from Stephen Jobs. If you don't do what you love, despite how many things they are, then you're always going to have that nudge of, hey, Rolonda, this is a lot of hard work. You sure you don't want to quit? You sure you don't want to give up? So it's imperative that you do engage in stuff that you are utterly passionate about. I couldn't agree with you more.
Absolutely. And then sometimes even doing the things you love, you're still tremendously challenged.
Yeah.
Like I've always wanted to do theater acting. And I just finished doing 3 plays at one time, playing 10 different characters, doing the Till trilogy. And I thought I was insane. But I said, you know what? If this is the path you are going down, do the best. Right. And to be able to help tell the Emmett Till story is always, I call public service and great storytelling. So yeah. Sometimes even the things you love will challenge the heck out of you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, 3 roles. I remember you posting all that, and every day you'd post, you'd be like, okay, day 2 down. I got this.
It was crazy. But I'll tell you what, the hard work paid off. Our 3 plays are up for 7 Helen Hayes Awards, which is like the Tonys in DC. So all that hard work paid off. But I tell you, it was some of the hardest work I've ever done. And I give it up to theater actors, because I'm coming from television and film, and theater is just no joke.
Yeah.
So support the theater.
I do. I've done a couple little, just
college productions here and there, local, city productions. It's like it's a totally different world. First of all, you're
Totally
not
different.
used to having speakers and monitors. Sometimes you have to go with the chutzpah of your voice. You're like, wow, this is brutal. And then dialogue, remembering certain long, epic monologues. I'm like, yeah, it's not my forte, so I do. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I was calling all my Broadway friends saying, "What do you do? How do you memorize when you've got a book this big and you're a woman of a certain age?" And they were like, "Well, you start taking vitamins for your brain now." So a
Yeah, a
little
lot of
word to the
ginkgo. A
wise,
lot of ginkgo.
lot of ginkgo,
A lot of
lot of
Well,
cod
not
liver
to
oil.
mention, sure, not to mention you have that luxury. You have those bullets in your belt, like nonchalant. You're like, I called my Broadway
Broadway
friends. They gave me
friends.
some pointers. Like, not all of us have that luxury. So yeah,
I,
there's that.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. Lilius White is a dear friend, and she just gave me the rundown. But she was just like, "You've got to, like like when we do our voice work, you
Sure,
really have to understand how to take care of your whole body. I mean, it's
right,
an inside job. You've got to sleep, and you've got to stretch, and you've got to keep it positive and get your brain together. I mean, it's a lot. Breathing and
truly is.
projecting and protecting your voice. It's work. But you know what? This is the stuff we love. And we
Right,
would, my question always, Manny, is what would happen if I didn't take these risks to do the things I love?
right,
What would that look like at the end of my days? And
right.
when you live a life that's this long and you're like here now,
Exactly.
you better do what you love because the stretch is short now.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a romantic, so you know the old adage. I've rather loved and lost than never have
To
loved at
never
all.
have
So,
loved it all. That's
right.
right. That's
So
right.
that's my endorsement right now. So let's get into this. I mean, what a better way to continue season 5 showcasing another powerful female like yourself
Season
in the entertainment
5.
industry. Season 5, yes, especially
Wow.
during Women's History Month. So
Yes.
so tell me, Ro, in
What?
2023, right? You're a successful black creative in an industry where I don't have to tell you, it's been heavily dominated by males, mostly white males, and with everything going on in the world with toxic narratives like racism and inequality and profiling and all that nonsense. Talk to me about your tenure in the industry. Like, how has it changed or how has it stayed the same, through your lens? And more importantly, any advice that you would give us all in, I don't know, helping us navigate through the sea of judgments or criticisms, which I know for a fact, you've mentioned this, you've heavily encountered in your own career. And it's no surprise, you've kicked ass in this industry, right? But I know it wasn't without a price to pay, as they say. And heavy is the head that wears the crown, but you have successfully, upheld that title of a queen in this industry. So talk to me about that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But, yeah, I've been behind a microphone in front of a camera 40 years. So I've seen a lot of changes since the early 80s. And the early 80s was really when women and just a little bitty, little tiny number of minorities got in. And quite honestly, by the time I entered the news industry back in the 80s, Manny, the little affirmative action appointments had already been made. So I
Right.
know I got into the news business because I was good. Spelman College had prepared me. Columbia's Graduate School of Journalism had prepared me. I'm a strong writer. I knew my value. And
Right.
so when I went in, I did great work, but it wasn't always awarded the way that my white male counterparts were. In fact, they used to
Sure.
laugh at me a lot and say, every guy who sits next to you on the weekend desk moves Monday through Friday. You're training all the anchor men. But they never moved me Monday through Friday. I mean, 10 years, they would hire people, little white girls from Houston, from someplace else, that pronounced Houston Street, New York, Houston. And I'm like, I'm right here. I'm trained. I cover the mob.
Hello, anyone?
Here I am. But it was always quite a struggle. But something, I think that you don't give up and you don't give in and you just don't take no for an answer. And you also, the old adage is you have to be twice as good and you have to work twice as long, and all of that's very true.
Right.
But having stuck through it and having said things like, I can remember in the newsroom when we were covering apartheid, and they were saying apartheid. And I called the South African affiliate. I said, how do you pronounce this word? And I remember the South African lady said, as an anchor woman, you pronounce it apartheid, and you remember hate is the root of that. And when they talked in news stories
Wow.
about they rounded up another score of blacks, I said, whoa, 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 whoa. That word, when you say that on the news to black people, that sounds like freaking slavery and cattle.
Exactly.
Tell them the
Right.
truth. They arrested 150 people so that my American family will ask, well, what did they arrest them for? On what charges? And when they hear nothing just for being black, oh, well, maybe we do have some similarities to South Africa.
Sure.
Maybe we can extend our help to them to crush.
You mean the media distorts words? Is that what you're trying to tell
Oh,
me?
what you talking about? And see, back in the day, that was back when we weren't as good. The news is horrible. A lot, not all of it, but for the most part, most people get their news off of the internet, and that's just so irresponsible. You know, you got everybody who's got a microphone thinks they're a reporter now, and that's just not. We have an ethic about what we do, and we have a principle about what we do, and it's really about the people, not for us to be stars. And I think there's
Well, you know what?
been a
Let me
switch
cut you
there.
off right there. DYOR, you know, do your own research. It's huge right now. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't heed to that admonition. I'm happy that you touched upon that topic because we are so misguided and misled, especially our youth. Social media is educating our children. There's no wonder why we're losing people jumping off of buildings, jumping in front of trains because everyone's so comparative. You know, this person's better than me. When in actuality, I get it. I get it. With the whole social media world and all these platforms, perception is reality. But who's to say what the true perception is? So that's a great point.
Yeah, but isn't perception, well, I remember this phrase that said perception is oftentimes stronger than the truth. That is it perception we live
Yes.
by, or is it truth we live by? And social media has made perception your truth. Whatever you're gullible enough to gobble up, they're going to sell it to you. And that's just the world we live in. But I think that when people are malicious and they well, I heard this is why he died, and I don't, but that's just so irresponsible. I had to jump on a young man who was doing that, and I said, wait a minute, you're not a reporter, and you haven't confirmed any of this, and it is too soon. The guy just died. For you to make suppositions about whether he was straight or gay, and was he having an affair? I said, this is horrible what you're doing to this family, and for no other reason than sensationalism, so you can grow your followers and fans.
Exactly.
And that is where I think we have a real issue. And that's another thing I fought for all throughout my career, whether it's in talk shows or in news, to be sensitive to human beings. I mean, your story is all we have at the end of the day. So be fair and be conscious of hurting people. You just can't,
I love the fact that you're saying something that always resonates with me. Two of the most important elements in me as an artist, as my message, is always to be authentic, but also be compassionate and empathetic to your society. And I think the world is being monitored, is being handled, is being coerced by people that have dominated the English language, but have also dominated the skill of manipulating that language for their hidden agendas. That's the problem with the world. So, man, you hit the nail on the head on that one. And I'm sorry you've experienced that, but at the same time, I'm grateful that someone like you encountered like that because you have the power, the capacity, the knowledge to repel all that nonsense.
Well, Manny, I always said when I sat there on the anchor desk at WNBC and WABC Inside Edition, every time I put that microphone on, I thought about even the little white boy who's watching, because the next time somebody tells him that black women are dumb and they can't pronounce words and they're not pretty, they're going to turn on every night on ABC and see somebody lied to them. So I had to keep showing up just to be there. And look at the doors we've opened. My goodness. Sherry Shepherd, Tamron Hall, all these black women who are doing it right now and who have, for the first time, we've got John Murray, who's the executive producer of Sherry, who is the highest ranking black man in daytime television. And it's 2020 freaking 3. And guess what? Why is he there? Because Sherry Shepherd demanded he be there and would not sign her contract until he was well shoot in. So
Good
and
for
I'm
her.
the announcer, so I really appreciate they got one of the old goats and brought her back to announce the show. But what a difference! What a difference! I was at a day where you didn't see two minorities. You didn't see Asian people, a lot of them. There was Kaidi Tong, and that was it. And
Yeah.
Miss Chung, and now we
Right.
see people of all rainbows and all
Yeah.
sexualities, and just we see our neighbors and friends
At least we have
and the
I can
world.
honestly say, at least we have a melting pot now. We have some variety, we have some options, diversity, which we didn't have before. And, as working for Apple for 10 years, I understand the advent of technology and where it's taken us. Certain things are bad, but certain things are great. Everyone's documenting things. People are actually getting to see, they're witnessing things that, oh, wait a second, there's no racism in this world. Oh, really? Okay, well, look what I got. Look what this guy got. There's 100 other people that just recorded. Are you missing this? Like, you are not seeing the same thing I am, right? So, in that
Right.
respect, I am really happy about that. But moving
Yeah.
on, listen, great conversation. Now, as I alluded
Yeah.
to before, Jesus, you do everything, right? And I myself, I can empathize as, podcasters, as singers, a photographer, now VO artists, thanks to you and your amazing tutelage. I get it. And believe me, right? Two thumbs up, yes. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed, especially having to, I don't know, continuously be in people's faces, social media, because that's a full-time job. So
Yeah,
the
it
question
is.
to you is this: what would you consider your most difficult challenge in sustaining this multifaceted career? Because this is probably a no-brainer question, because you've succeeded. You've succeeded in everything that you've done. So there has to be an underlying brand of balance, if you will, that you must have either adopted or implemented in your daily routine, being it having a team or your organizational skills, you being a unicorn of, organization, as I just said. I don't know, but what is it? Please share, because if I could bottle it up, I could sell the damn thing and make millions. So
Well,
please do tell.
Yeah, listen, first of all, I do get overwhelmed sometimes. I mean, I think it's like a mother who loves all of her children, but honestly has some days where they're all driving her crazy. I mean, sometimes I feel like the old woman who lived in the shoe who had so many
I
children
was
she
just
didn't
about
know
to
what
say
to
that.
do. Yeah,
I was just about to say that.
And sometimes you have to tell a few of them, go shut up and sit down. Go find something else to do while mama concentrates on this right now.
Right,
Because
right.
I've got to feed all of them, whether I like it or not. Our gifts drag us where we have to go. And some of this is what we're destined to do. Not always what we're good at sometimes. Sometimes what we're destined to do that will take priority over things. So I say what I'm learning is how to prioritize, to constantly check in with myself and say, Rolonda, what is important for you and your life? At this point in my life, my legacy. So I'm learning that I don't have to talk on Facebook all the time. Now I'm one of these people. It's odd that in my age group that I am all over TikTok, Instagram, all of them.
Right.
Because that's how I stay in contact with my fans and the people who follow my brand and who've been so
course.
loyal to me. No matter what I do, they follow me right along.
Plus, you're a face, you're a personality. It's almost like you're an obligation to be in front of people's faces.
Well, you know what? And that's some of the things that I'm challenged with. I mean, because I'm not getting on TV unless I got my lashes on. And they're like, Ro, but people like you natural. I don't care. I'm not always doing that. So I do have to work harder at being a little more, getting my YouTube. On my YouTube channel, the Rolonda channel. I'm going to put up more of the old Rolonda shows. I want to keep my podcast all under there because it is important that I have a voice out there on issues. And then I still want to write my screenplay. And I'm like, is playing on TikTok and Instagram right now more important than leaving the legacy of a movie? Well, you better start prioritizing. Instead of
It's a
2
valid point.
hours to 3 hours, I'll give you 40 minutes. 40 minutes, you're going to get up super early. 40 minutes that you didn't have, you could find them somewhere, middle of the night, whatever, and you can schedule stuff to launch. Because I'm going to tell you, I call it the rabbit hole. And anytime I'm supposed to be concentrating on doing something, like I'm going to the VO Atlanta conference, I got to update my podcast, my website again. And I do all this stuff, and a lot of us are doing this. Yes, we get overwhelmed, but you know what? You've got to prioritize your time. And that comes with checking in and what is most important. If you got hit by a truck tomorrow, and we see it every day, young people dropping off,
Yeah,
you don't have to
absolutely.
be 70 years old. Lance Reddick
Absolutely.
checked out at 60
It's
2 days
crazy.
ago.
Hmm.
Crazy. So if you left this earth today, what could you not die with leaving undone? Maya
That's
Angelou
great.
told me when I wrote my novel and she read the manuscript and I was saying, "Do you think I could write a book?" She said, "Don't you die with this story still inside of you."
Wow.
And I got down and got the book done. So you have to challenge yourself. Maybe instead of saying I have a month deadline, you give yourself 2 freaking weeks or this weekend. And if that means you got to
Mm,
go back to old school when I was in college and do a 24 and all-nighter, we used to call them, do the
right.
all-nighter. Do it. Do what you got to do to get it done. Set yourself a deadline. Challenge yourself. Make it fun. You got a
Love it.
question? Go on YouTube University, learn something new. How can I
I like what
manage
you
my
just said though
time?
there.
What's that?
That hit home. You do not die with that story inside of you, man. That just
Mm.
hit home for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never heard it directly said like that, but it really, really resonates with me because it's so true. You start thinking,
Mhm.
man, I've got so much stuff to do, but do you really have that much stuff to do, or are you selecting to do all the stuff that you
Right.
supposedly need to do? So that's such a valid argument.
Well, when I think about what am I going to post today, and I keep saying, because I'm going through my organization, because I moved from
Mm.
LA to New York and I'm doing new things here. So I have to reschedule my new habits,
You got to reacclimate,
I got to
sure.
totally recalibrate. And so I'm getting a wonderful opportunity to choose, to pick and choose what will occupy my time. I look at people like Beyonce. She got the same 24 hours we do. What is she doing? That's who we need to be
Right.
talking to. But I think about, if okay, I got to post something. I'd rather post something meaningful on YouTube than show you what I ate today on
Right.
IG.
Oh,
You
I
know, and
agree.
and so
I
what
agree.
I'm posting is going to outlive me. So let it be something, let the content be about the character of
Right.
this human being that lived.
Right. Well,
And
plus
so
it's evergreen. It's
yeah.
evergreen. So whether you post something 2 weeks ago, it's still going to manifest to someone else who's just scrolling
Right.
around. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But see, now you can monetize on all these platforms. So people are
Yeah.
posting like crazy.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just so, the whole internet thing is the real rabbit hole. It sucks the life out of you.
Yeah.
And it is a job. There's no question about it. But people are making
100%.
money. They're making brands. They're making names for themselves. I do a sitcom called Partners in Rhyme with MC Light and a young
Mm.
girl, young rapper named Precious Way. They
Oh, I
found
know MC
Precious
Light.
on Instagram. So
Mm.
you can't tell these young kids they're not working because
Right.
they are working it.
They
Now this
really
whole
are.
fake it till you make it thing, now that's something I'm trying to get used to with with
Yeah.
everybody. But
That's a
listen,
tough one for me though, Rolanda. Like fake it until you make it. I've never endorsed it. I was always more like face
mm-mm,
it until you make it. You put in the reps. You try to devise a way to make it happen. Because
right.
sometimes the thing that separates the greats from the averages are the people that show up even when they don't feel like showing up.
That's right.
So,
That's
and you
right.
mentioned that before, and I've always endorsed that theory. And it would help to have Beyonce's budget. I'm saying that might
Her
help out a
budget,
little bit.
and her assistants, and
Just a little bit. But so
I
listen,
know.
I know you've had incredible accolades, and we've been discussing this, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, um, but if you had to pick one, all right, maybe two of the biggest highlights in your life, right? What would they be and why? And please don't leave out the juicy details. For example, if it's a great story that came out of some, I don't know, serendipitous connection or the planets were aligned in your favor, even when you thought all hope was lost, because those are my favorites. And I only bring this up because I myself just authored my book, as you know, Soul, You Gotta
Mhm.
Breathe. And it's all about never giving up, like you just
Right.
referred to, right? And
Yeah.
pivoting with those hardships because there's always some sort of silver lining. I've always believed that in the hardships. And I'm pretty sure you agree because as great as you are, as great as the row is, right? I'm sure it wasn't always a walk in the park for you, obvious. And I'm reading between the lines here, of course. So share some of those stories, not only just to serve as inspiration, but as your situation, your ethnic background. You have so many disadvantages. Unfortunately, I hate to say that in this industry. So how did you overcome those stories?
Well, I created my own narrative, and that was that I was just going to be good at what I did and be known
Right.
for being professional and just doing the best job I possibly could. But because I was blessed to be in industries of storytelling, I knew that what was bigger than what I was going through was the story of the people I was trying to talk about.
Right.
And in the 80s, we were breaking stories. It was the first time we were talking about homelessness. I remember going to do a story about a shelter, which was very new, and I could not hear the people talking to me because the children were crying so doggone loud. And I said, there's the story. So we went live with all of these homeless children around. It was the first time New York City had put a face to a story. That was my job. It wasn't just another person dead today. Joe Schmo was on his way taking his kid to school, and he was shot by a stray bullet. Those stories mean something to people. My stories have helped change laws, change minds. I've helped I've helped one person get off death row by telling stories. I was the first person to talk about pedophilia, child molestation, when people didn't want to talk about that. I had the KKK and a bunch of skinheads on my talk show to talk about being young and racist in America. I wanted to understand what in the world would possess a 17, 15-year-old. One kid we had to cover him up because he was so young spewing this racism. But here's the good thing. Skip 30 years later from that show, one of the little boys who was actually one of the biggest leaders of the Nazi program here in America got out of all that and is now working to get kids out of these extremist groups. I got to do a follow-up story. Y'all can go to Rolonda channel on YouTube and
wow,
see
that's
that.
brilliant.
So that's major to me. And of course, there were times
amazing.
when James Brown proposed to me live on TV, and
I remember you discussing that. Yeah.
and Aretha Franklin busting me on Dayton, and Al B. Sure showing up as my second chance for a first love.
That
and
was
exciting
sad, though. I
things
read
like
about that. I love Al B. Sure. He's such an
Yeah,
amazing
he's doing
artist,
a lot
unfortunately.
better.
All right, good,
Listen,
good.
he's standing up. That's half the battle. But I think stories that impact people's lives or move people in a positive way have been some good times for me. And then listen, even with the talk show, I had to stand up for integrity, and that's why the show was 4 years and maybe not 40, because the path that talk was going through in the 90s was pop quizzing people and ambushing people, and you had the murder with Jenny Jones, you had Geraldo getting his nose broken. They started putting up metal detectors in my studio, and I was like, you know what, this is not where I belong. This is not what God wants me to do with my talent. And that's where I say some things that even you're good at, maybe that isn't the complete destiny, but you certainly made a name for yourself. So continue the legacy of storytelling that has a positive impact on humanity, that pushes the needle of humanity just a little bit forward just because you told a story. And so we do that with our voiceover work. We do it with stand-up comedy, sitcoms, dramas, movies, plays, novels. Anywhere I can tell a story, I'm out there doing it if that can affect positive change.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'd probably say 95% of the things that I do it just to offset the negativity and the hatred.
Yeah.
There's enough hatred in the world. I try to at least sprinkle a little bit of the goodness that I could afford this world, throughout my talents. So, yeah, I mean, there's tons of empathy on that. And
also, Manny, not to be all Pollyanna, we call people on their shit too. I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, I think a journalist is somebody who barks. He's the guard dog of society. We bark when things are wrong. We bark when things are right. But we've always got to keep keep your voice out there, and provoking that positive change, even when things are going to crap. Because I always say crap makes gardens grow. So we're seeing a lot of crap these days. So we got to keep that hope alive,
100%. But I think you and I in this industry, people that utilize and implement their voices, whether it's entertainment, whether it's singing, whether it's stand-up comedy, I think it's our responsibility to be the voice for those that are too afraid to come out and speak out. So level of integrity for boasting positive messages, but more importantly, to speak the truth is huge. And that's why, if you notice, as history confronts us, right, with some of the things that have happened, calamities, most people get killed for speaking the truth. Most people
That's
get thrown in
right.
jail for speaking the truth. But you have to love the truth more than the consequences of what the ignorance of society impose on you. And that's the difference between a leader. I don't mind losing my life if it means that a lot of people are going to be educated and learning the truth behind what I have to say. So people
That's
like you
right.
and I, it's a responsibility that we have.
Well,
It
what
is
is
what it
that?
is, Rolonda.
Patrick Henry said, I may not agree with what you say, but I will
Right.
defend to the death your right to say it.
Oh, very
And
nicely done.
yes, and if we could just get to a point where we would listen to each other. See, that's what I miss about my talk show, is I would have them going every which way, every kind of angle, but it was like what do you call it, the cacophony, all that discourse before
Yeah.
the symphony begins, when all the
Yeah.
instruments are warming up and it's all
Yeah.
crazy. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's harmony. Everybody playing a different part, but it's all a beautiful song of what America is really about. It's about our story, and we've got to change the narrative, man. We got some issues.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Gotta change
Listen,
the
that's a great segue. This is a great segue into the last question. And, it's a signature question of the show, and I love asking it. What's your mojo? I mean, it's obvious why you do what you do with respect to, speaking the truth and making people laugh and doing all the things that have made you this incredible personality, which I am grateful to have known and cross paths with you. But what keeps you going every day? Like, you wake up every single day, cross LA, New York City, and learning monologues and having to teach knuckleheads like me how to utilize their voice. Like,
And look
what
how
keeps
well
you
you're
going?
doing.
I'm doing okay.
That
I'm
keeps
doing
me
okay.
going. I tell you, I always say, you hang out with me long enough, I'm going to have you believing in yourself. You give me 10 minutes, I'm going to have you
Go
believing
figure.
in yourself. I know.
Go
But
figure.
I love to see, my name is Watts. I love to see the light bulb go off above people's heads when they get it, they got it, they're on their way.
It's so gratifying, right? Isn't that
It
gratifying?
really is. And when you
Yeah.
see people go, oh, I never thought about it that way, or wow, that really touched me in a way. I heard somebody say the other day, they were asked, what do you want people to remember about you? And the person said, and I agree with this, I just hope when I'm gone, when they mention my name, people smile. And I hope I touch them in a positive way, and put a little fire up some bellies too, and people remember that, because when people say, "Oh, I got some enemies in the business," well, you must have stood up for something,
Yeah.
So you're going to run into adverse situations. Adversity is part of life. Nobody says it's going to be all cherries and ice cream. You're going to have some tough times, but you have to believe in yourself. You have to. I wake up every morning saying, "I'm here to do the Lord's work. Lead me where you need me." And I hear my ancestors say, "And let her be a leader where you need her." And so I follow his
like
trek.
that.
He put these gifts in me. And my gift back to my God is to use those gifts responsibly and in a positive way to affect humanity. Like I said, push that needle just a little bit forward. That's really important to me. My faith is important to me, my faith in myself, because this embodies God's work that I have to do. And so I show up. I show up every day for him. I
Love
mean,
it.
even when I don't want to, I show up and get the work done, because I know that's what's expected of me. To whom much is given, much is required.
Right. And you know what? Very eloquently put, but it doesn't surprise me coming from you, Ro. What do you want me to tell? So listen, anything else you want to promote? Anything else? Like, what can we expect? How do people find you if they want to know a little bit more about Miss Rolonda Watts?
Well, you can go to Rolonda.com, ROLONDA, and you can find out about my voice acting masterclass. You can find out about all the other things I've been doing.
Wait a second. Don't fly over that. Don't fly over that. Come on. I took the course. It's amazing. It's amazing. You bring some incredible guests on there. You understand how to leverage your voice. I just wanted to edify you a little bit. So
Oh, thank you. But
Go
we
ahead.
have a good time. We have a good time
we
in
do.
that class. We have fun, but we get it done. And my students are doing so great. So if you're a voice actor, you're looking to boost your career a little bit more, or starting in go to Rolonda.com, set up a discovery call, and we can chit chat. But I'm also going to VO Atlanta this coming week to speak there,
I know.
a big conference.
I wish I could go. I
And
really wish.
I know. Well, you'll go to another one. There'll
Yeah.
be more. And let's see, what else? You can watch the sitcom Partners in Rhyme on All Black or WeTV. That's a fun sitcom. And just, what else is going on? Watch the Sherry Show. You hear me every day going, and now your host, Sherry Shepherd. And keep your fingers crossed that more good things are going to happen now that I'm in New York.
Absolutely. I'm wishing you much abundance, much love and peace, and
Thank you.
bravery to continue to spread this level of integrity that you so graciously have upheld throughout the years. So thank you. I'm
Thank you
really,
so
really
much.
thankful for your show and appreciate you sharing your knowledge, your stories with all of my listeners and myself. You're the best. Much love to you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm killing myself. Bye.
Thanks
See
so
you.
much. Take care,
Manny,
Ro.
this
Be
was
good.
so much fun. Thank you.
Pleasure was all mine. You
Bye-bye.
take care of yourself. Bye.
Bye.
This has been a Mojo for Musicians podcast. If you're a musician, industry professional, or a voice with a powerful message and wanting to share your mojo and stories of success with our listeners, or simply share some feedback on today's episode, we'd love to hear from you. So send us an email at info@mannycabo.com. As always, much love and peace. Live to inspire. Thanks for listening.